The CEO of Jobsy, and Enoch Kambale, CTO of Jobsy. Today we're talking how Trump's withdrawal of foreign aid is actually affecting startups across Africa.
Yeah, so I like the idea of startups because it means you're creating jobs out there. But if you think about it, most startups cannot afford to hire a large amount of people. But there's an issue of jobs in Africa. But you can't get many jobs if there's not, you can't put many people in jobs if there's not job opportunities. So what do you think that most people should start doing in order to decrease this issue? Should it be like more people should start increasing their jobs, like actually getting into the entrepreneur space rather than looking for a job?
Yeah, I think there are many alternatives to living life these days. You don't have to get a regular job, but at the same time, I wouldn't say that startups are for everyone. I think this advice that anyone can start a company, anyone can do this, I think that's ill advice because it's not for everyone. Some people just thrive better in like a job setup, and if that's your thing, that's what you enjoy, well and good. But I think if everyone is on the side where jobs are being offered, looking for these jobs, and no one is creating them, then like the funnel is not balanced. So more people should create, but at the same time, I wouldn't say that creating is for everyone.
I want to ask, still on this story for Trump cutting aid, do you foresee a situation where local investors are going to jump in now that there's a gap on reduced foreign aid?
I think as it stands right now, about 70% of the capital going into startups is foreign, be it whether equity, be it debt, be it the impact investments. 70% or more is from external sources outside Africa. So I think for local investors, they're still struggling to understand how startups work. They're struggling to understand their business models because the way we run startups is you lose money for a significant amount of time to gain market share. So you're not profitable for a number of years. Like let's say take the story of Facebook. Facebook lost money for the first 5 years of business, then made it all back on the 6th year. So you approach African investors and tell them, hey, give me your money, I'm going to lose it for 5 years.
They're like, where? Go and get a job. I understand. Our investors are very conservative with the money.
So I think there's still what we need is more success stories. Because Facebook has happened outside Africa. If we can see more success stories from this part of the world, if people can see, hey, this guy started this company. Yes, they lost money, but now they capture the market and they're the biggest player here. Maybe I could try this. I know it's a gamble. The way VCs actually even work, you find a pool of like 20 companies hoping that just one succeeds. So once they start seeing more of these success stories, once they start seeing, hey, I can actually put my money here and get a return regardless of all these other losses, then they'll warm up to the idea.
But if you think about how startups were started about like 5 to 7 years ago and compared to now, technology has played a huge role in it, especially with AI. Like most of the startups you have, a lot of the jobs that you need many people for has been automated by AI. So do you think that would lead to reducing the break-even time frame needed? Because now you're automating a lot of things. It means you're moving at an exponential speed.
I think what tools like AI does, it gets rid of like the boring, repetitive jobs and creates more like hardcore, more high-level jobs. So you lose, let's say the manual editing and maybe doing the manual tasks, but we need more AI engineers. We need guys who can run these agents. We need guys who can build these models. We need guys who can make the computers and run the data centers where these models are running from. So yes, we lose some of the repetitive jobs, but we gain in terms of like high quality, high level jobs. So I think it's a give and take. You see, with every evolution in technology. There's what we left behind. Even with the internet, there are jobs that completely disappeared, but a new wave of jobs came in and replaced all those jobs. So it's just another wave. And then I think one interesting thing, you see, the world has inertia. Like yes, AI is going to come, but AI is not going to change the world like this in a snap. The internet came, but right now the business is still figuring out how to do their website.
Yeah. True.
So 10, 20 years down the line, there'll still be businesses trying to figure, hey, maybe we can automate with AI, maybe we can get rid of this job. So it won't all just happen in a snap. It's progressive, and I think there's more to gain than there is to lose.
Let me ask you guys something. What are some of the things that, from your observation, maybe you can just clarify, because I think Enoch you mentioned something like this, but what are some of the things that startups are doing to remain efficient and sustainable now that, of course, the aid has been cut, foreign aid has been cut?
Well, especially in the edge of AI, like she's asked. Obviously, automating the repetitive tasks or even speeding up software engineering, for example. So, if you're able to utilize AI efficiently in your workflows, whether it's in customer support or building the actual product, you're able to ship faster, and you're also able to have less employees in your company. And if you have less employees in your company, it means you're having less operational costs. And so, especially at a time like this where there's that funding freeze, it means that we really need to find ways of being more efficient. Because startups will have to get to a point where only the very essential people at the company have to stay there.
It's true.
If this guy can do more of your work because he uses AI more efficiently than you, then you're definitely gonna get laid off.
Do you foresee a situation where the government will check in and bring about measures or policies that would at least cushion startups from being seriously affected by the reduction in aid?
I think one thing is that first of all, when it comes to foreign aid, US has been by far the largest donor, and the guys receiving the aid like us tend to rely on them mostly compared to other sources of funding. But there's if it's going to be about international aid, still there's other sources. I think Germany is the second donor after the US, so there's that. There's also the EU. So I think the government or even just startups themselves could diversify where the international aid is coming from, and also we should also create opportunities for local investment. Local VCs and local angel investors have to be more favorable towards startups and actually treat us like startups, and all the things that Matara said, that startups have to have this phase of burning through cash in order to grow. A lot of VCs still do not have that mindset, and they don't understand that. Then there's also things, the way we get grants from the US. The Kenyan government should also have grant or schemes like that to support startups, and also have more favorable policies when it comes to regulations, especially when it comes to things like data or the internet. And we need the government to be more up to date and more aware in terms of what is actually happening, because I think a lot of those guys in government don't really understand what we need and what is actually essential to the growth of startups in the country.
So I saw one thing that used to work well back in the UK was innovation hubs, where startups would go in, they'd get mentors in there, they'd be able to build on that idea before they got to a stage where they can get their first funding or even second or third funding. Do you think that is something that is lacking here in Kenya? Because we do have a bit of innovation hubs, but they're not at the full capacity to be able to contain some of these startups like you guys' business.
How would I put it? In fact, I see the withdrawal of foreign aid as a direct hit on those innovation hubs, because, as I mentioned earlier, the ways startups are raising capital, and the one that has been accessible to the earliest stage of companies is impact funding, because somebody would come and start a hub and train the various early stage entrepreneurs, because equity funding, as Enoch put it, VCs are really putting high barriers of entry to startup founders. So where these early stage founders are able to find a home is these hubs. And when the funding from these hubs is cut short, it directly affects these people. I'd say, the past 3 years have been hard for startups. Like in Africa, we raised our most money back, I think it was in 2022, raised a total of 4 billion. And that figure has been going down. It went down to 2.8, went down to 2.2 last year. And this year we also think maybe might end up
significantly.
Wow.
Yeah, I can imagine.
go down. So it's not been a nice 3 years for startups in this part of the world. I think the best is maybe it should be a wake-up call. The reliance on external capital, the reliance on external help might actually be to the detriment of startups in this ecosystem.
Yeah.
We need to make an initiative among ourselves to actually support. Like we have good success stories already, likes of M-Pesa and all that. So we need just guys who have the capital to believe that this market has potential and take that risk on some of these companies. Because unless we take that risk, if we're hoping for other guys to come save us, they never will.
Yeah. Another thing is with looking for investors here in Kenya, I know there's a few investors who are, eager to try and jump in on this tech space, but they don't know exactly where to find most people. So is there a community where most startups can come in, where local investors can also jump in and be able to join in the buzz of the startups from idea point to, to growth?
There are those spaces that exist. But I'd say our startup community is still very small. It's not as mature. We don't have as many. Yes, we make a lot of noise, but we all know each other in this space. We know this founder. It's like a very small, tight-knit community. And if you actually come and talk to us and say we're looking for this, I don't think it would be that hard to find. I think the thing is that yes, they're looking for but many of them are not willing to take that risk in some of these companies.
Yeah.
You'll find the companies, but many of them are not willing to take that initial risk.
Yeah. All right, so guys, we're about to wrap up this conversation, but I have a general question about Jobsy. What is your ultimate dream? Where do you guys see yourself in, say, 5 years?
Well, where we want to be in 5 years is to be in a position where every household knows what Jobsy is. We want to be in a position where we essentially are a powerhouse in what we do, and we want to solve the problems that we are currently solving for as many people as possible, and make the whole job application process as efficient as possible on both ends, for the applicants and for the recruiters themselves. So we want to make it as efficient as possible, and we want to align it very well with generative AI, since that's the current age of AI. So that's our main goal. We want such that if you go into any household and people are applying for jobs, everyone knows what jobs is, everyone knows what talent is. That's the kind of impact we would like to have.
I like that.
Maybe to add on that, they say our workforce will double within the next 10 to 20 years. So we have so many young people, so many guys in schools. So like our big dream is to provide the tools that will facilitate the transition from these people from like the schools into the workforce. Like provide that layer that will help recruiters find good talent, and will also help people looking for jobs for the coming years find those good jobs.
Absolutely.
So we want to build those rails that will enable that in the long run. Yeah.
And you're doing a really good job at that, man. So thank you so much for coming through, guys. I'm seeing a couple of comments over here. Simon Odhiambo says, this is sad truth. Our own leaders have misplaced priorities. And then Spencer Matunda says, this is the real showcase of the white man's control of the black man. Real tentacles now seen of how Trump can play Cold War on Africa. Open. I think he used the Nigerian vibes, eh? He said, open your eyes, my fellow Africans. It's Cold War. We will let the population infected and lied to about availability of drugs die off before asking Trump what the trade exchange for the drugs is. So, and then, of course, there's an individual over here as well. This is, where is he? Yes, a ridiculous Naya CBS says the best brains from Mango High School. There you go. So once again, thank you so much, gentlemen, for hanging out with us right here on After Hours on Spice. It's been real, man.
Yeah, so if anyone wants to partner with you guys, want to get in touch with you, where do they reach you?
Jobsy.Africa.
Yeah, Jobsy.Africa.
Yeah.
Simple as that. Good stuff, man.
Yeah.
Easy. Right now it's 23 minutes after 8. When we come back, we're cruising the internet right now. I like this one. Over by Lucky Day.
Pure golden sound and good talk. 94.4 Spice FM.